Alrighty guys, we are once again 5-0 in our last 5 board member tier package plays on my website. And if you want to access today's board member tier package play, the link for my site is in the description section below. Before we go ahead and talk a little bit more about that, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video here today for Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Happy Thursday to you. Weekend's right around the corner. My name is Brock Page. I've been doing sports picks on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. Once again, guys, I'm 5-0 in my last 5 board member tier package plays on that site. And not only do board members get access to the board member tier package bet itself, you also get access to every single personal play, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. It's an all-inclusive package that works out to be just $1.66 a day if you sign up here today. Of course, as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to my daily board member podcast as well. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free picks on these videos that I'm actually betting on personally. I currently have over 525 members who are signed up and active on that site right now. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at Iowa at Purdue, 7 o'clock East. Purdue's -7, totals 150. Now, Purdue's 11-1 straight up at home, and they've been nearly impossible to score against. The Boilermakers allow just 58 points a game in the Mackey Arena. They're also the best defensive rebounding team in the country. 7'4" Zach Edey grabs over 13 rebounds a night. He's also scoring 22 points a game. He's in the top 5 in the nation in both of those categories. Meanwhile, Fletcher Lawyer scores over a dozen points a night himself. They're facing an Iowa team who lost 4 of 6 on the road, and they have a tough time on defense. These guys allow nearly 74 points a night, and they're arguably the worst defensive rebounding team on the road in the Big Ten. Now, injury-wise, Josh Ogundele is questionable for the Hawkeyes. When it comes to the total, Iowa saw their last 3 straight get over the number, 80% to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, Purdue saw overs in 6 out of their last 10 themselves. Give me Purdue -7, over 150. Next game, Northwestern, Ohio State, 8 o'clock East. Ohio State's -5, totals 137.5. And even though they're laying a couple of buckets, the Buckeyes are on a 4-game skid, and they failed to cover in 9 out of their last 10. They're facing a Northwestern team who's one of the better road scoring teams in the nation. These guys are averaging 76 points a game in their travels, and they're doing a nice job shooting from the field. Boo Buie scores a team-high 16 points a game. He's also making 90% of his free throws. Meanwhile, Chase Audige, he's scoring over 15 points per contest himself. When it comes to defensive play, Northwestern ranks in the top 25 and fewest points allowed per game. Now, injury-wise, Julian Roper's still questionable for Northwestern. When it comes to the total, 5 out of Northwestern's last 7 on the road did get over the number. Meanwhile, Ohio State saw overs against the likes of Michigan, Indiana, and Iowa. I'm going to lean toward Northwestern +5, over 137.5. Next contest, it is going to be UCLA taking on Oregon State, 9 o'clock East. UCLA's -15.5, totals 124. And even though I really do hate this number in a conference game on the road, I do actually think the Bruins can cover here. They're allowing only 60 points a game defensively, and they're actually in the top 10 in the country in fewest road points allowed. Jaime Jaquez has 38 steals on the season, along with 18 blocks. Jaime is also the team's leading points getter with 16 a game. Meanwhile, David Singleton makes over 43% of his three-pointers, and he's also averaging double-digit points a night. Now, they're facing an Oregon State team who lost 8 out of their last 10. When it comes to offensive production, this is one of the worst scoring teams in the entire country. The Beavs are scoring only 62 points per contest. Now, total-wise, UCLA saw 7 out of their last 10 outings stay under the number. Unders against the likes of Washington, Arizona, and Colorado. And out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Oregon State, the under cashed in 70% of those contests. Now, Oregon State went 8-3 to the under in their last 11 qualifying home games. They also averaged just 65 points a game in their last 10 meetings with UCLA. When it comes to the injury report, Merrill, Rochland, and Stevens are all questionable for the Beavs. Meanwhile, for UCLA, Evan Manjikian is questionable for them. I'm going to lean toward UCLA minus 15.5, under 124. Next ball game, San Francisco taking on Gonzaga, 9 o'clock East. Gonzaga's minus 14, totals 155. I'm not sure Gonzaga is playing good enough defense to lay this kind of number. They're allowing nearly 74 points a night as it is. When it comes to covering the point spread, Bulldogs failed to cover in 6 out of their last 9. Failures to cover against the likes of St. Mary's, University of Pacific, and Loyola Marymount. Now they're facing a San Francisco team who's done a nice job covering the number themselves. The Dons went 6-3 against the spread in their last 9. They're also averaging 75 points a game offensively. Khalil Shabazz, he scores a team-high 16 points a game. Meanwhile, Tyrell Roberts, he's draining 40% of his three-pointers. He's also scoring 15 points a night. Now, total-wise, Gonzaga saw overs recently against the likes of St. Mary's, University of Pacific, and Portland. They're also 60% to the over in their own arena. Meanwhile, San Francisco saw 5 out of their last 7 get over the total themselves. They're also allowing 84 points a game in their last 10 meetings with Gonzaga. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Give me San Francisco plus 14, keeping that one close, over 155. Next matchup, it is going to be Arizona State taking on Stanford, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Stanford's the 2.5-point favorite at home, totals 138 and a hook. Now, Stanford's a top 25 defensive rebounding team, and they've been really tough to score against at home. The Cardinal gives up just 62 points a game in their own building. Spencer Jones has 25 blocks and 26 steals defensively. He's also the team's leading scorer with 13 points a game. Meanwhile, Michael Jones, he's averaging just about double-digit points a game himself. They're facing an Arizona State team who's had all kinds of problems shooting the basketball on the road. These guys make just 38% of their field goals while traveling. When it comes to defensive play, the Sun Devils allowed nearly 74 points per contest in their last 10 meetings with Stanford. Now, total-wise, Stanford saw unders against the likes of Cal, Oregon, and Oregon State. They also went 6-5 to the under in their last 11 at Maples Pavilion. Give me Stanford minus 2.5, under 138 and a hook. Next game, USC taking on Oregon, 11 o'clock Eastern start time. Oregon's the 5-point favorite, totals 142 and a hook. And even though the Ducks are favored at home, they did fail to cover in 3 out of their last 5. And in their last 10 head-to-head meetings, Oregon successfully covered in only 30% of those ball games. Now, when it comes to offensive production, Oregon's been very little threat shooting the three-pointer. These guys are making just 31% of their long balls. They're also facing a USC team who's been really tough to score against. The Trojans allow just 66 points per game, and they're actually limiting their competition to only 38% shooting from the field. As a matter of fact, USC is currently in the top 5 in the entire country in guarding the field goal on the road. Boogie Ellis has 36 steals on the season, and he also has a handful of blocks. Now, Ellis is also the team's leading points getter with 16.5 a game. Now, teammate Drew Peterson, he's also averaging over 14 points a game himself. When it comes to rebounding the basketball, the Trojans are a top 25 offensive rebounding team on the road. Now, injury-wise, Morgan and Waters are questionable for USC. When it comes to the total, USC saw 4 out of their last 7 stay under the line, throwing out that Washington game. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Oregon stay under the total as well. So if you're into historical trends, once again, plenty of unders to go around. Now, the Ducks saw unders recently against the likes of Utah and Stanford. They also averaged just 67 points a game in their last 10 meetings with USC. I'm going to lean toward the USC Trojans plus 5, under 142.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be Arizona taking on Cal. That'll be an 11 o'clock Eastern start time. Arizona's minus 19 on the road, totals 141. And simply put, guys, Arizona is one of the highest scoring teams in the country, and Cal is one of the lowest. The Golden Bears are scoring only 59 points a game. They're one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the country. They're facing an Arizona team who's one of the better teams in the country at guarding the three-pointer themselves. When it comes to offensive production, these guys are averaging 83 points a game, and they rank in the top 5 in offensive boards. Azzy Tabellis, he's getting 9.5 rebounds a night. He's also scoring 20 points a game. Meanwhile, Courtney Ramey, he's drilling 40% of his shots from beyond the arc. Now, total-wise, I'm not sure Cal can score enough to help put this one over. They also saw their last 4 straight stay under the posted total. Now, Arizona, on the other side, they saw unders recently with the likes of Oregon State, Wazoo, and UCLA. I'm going to lean toward Arizona minus 19 and the under 141 in the tight window. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like St. Francis Brooklyn plus 4 under 122. Sacred Heart minus 1 over 149. Western Illinois minus 1 over 134.5. Merrimack minus 4 under 126. Fairleigh Dickinson minus 11 over 155. Radford minus 3 under 125.5. James Madison minus 3 over 138. Old Dominion minus 1 under 132. Marshall minus 8 over 154. Stetson plus 3 under 132. Eastern Kentucky plus 2 over 157. Florida Gulf Coast minus 1 over 149. Purdue minus 7 over 150. BELLARM plus 16 over 123. Rice plus 14 over 149. Louisiana Tech plus 1 over 141.5. Appalachian State minus 2 over 129. UT-RIO Graham minus 2 over 143. Morehead State minus 2 over 142. SIU-Edwardsville minus 5.5 under 138 and a hook. Oakland minus 10 under 139.5. UW-Milwaukee minus 1 over 156. North Dakota State minus 8 over 148. Denver plus 3 over 144. Texas State minus 7 under 123. Northern Colorado minus 4 over 157. Sacramento State minus 1.5 under 131 and a hook. St. Thomas plus 8 over 153. New Orleans plus 12 over 149. Northwestern plus 5 over 137.5. Middle Tennessee State plus 1 over 142 and a hook. North Texas minus 1.5 under 127.5. Troy minus 3 under 137. Southern Miss minus 2 over 147.5. Kennesaw State minus 3 over 138. Tennessee Martin minus 4 over 149. Texas A&M Corpus Christi minus 14 over 158.5. Southeast Louisiana minus 2.5 under 147 and a hook. Incarnate Word minus 7 over 137. North Alabama minus 6 over 141. Charlotte plus 3 under 122. Northwestern State minus 3 over 139.5. UCLA minus 15.5 under 124. Southern Utah minus 6 over 146. University of Pacific plus 6 over 154. San Francisco Dons plus 14 over 155. Montana State minus 4 under 130. Montana minus 2 under 133.5. Lipscomb minus 8 over 156. UC Riverside minus 2 over 143. Tennessee State plus 2 over 157. Southern Indiana plus 2 under 146. Cal State Bakersfield minus 3 under 121. UC Irvine minus 13.5 under 130 and a hook. Santa Clara minus 11 over 158. BYU minus 8 under 153. Loyola Marymount plus 9 under 127.5. Stanford with an N minus 2.5 under 138 and a hook. USC plus 5 under 142.5. Arizona Wildcats minus 19 under 141. UC Santa Barbara -1.5 over 145. With my next and final free pick, I'm going to lean toward Hawaii -10 under 131.